Two Kids and a Career is a production of Jill Devine Media.
The world is forever changed. I don't care where you are, what you do. We're coming out of it now, but we're not going to go back to the way things used to be, especially now with the tech and the amount of new entrepreneurs. Everything's different. And I'm still, as is everybody, still trying to figure it out. I think that it's just knowing that the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train anymore. It's just
right.
like, okay, figure out how this new era, what this new dawn looks like, and then go on from there.
Evoke Creative is a proud sponsor of Two Kids and a Career. They help small business owners like me brand with purpose and market with intent. The ladies at Evoke Creative will help make your digital presence known. Learn more at evokecco.com. That's evokecco.com. Hi there, and welcome to Two Kids and a Career. I'm Jill Devine. As an entrepreneur, wife, and mama, the daily grind of trying to build a business while taking care of kids and trying to maintain a healthy connection with my hubby, it's a lot. With this podcast, you're going to hear candid conversations with other moms, parenting experts who can share their knowledge and insight, or you'll just hear me rambling to get it all out. There's going to be tears, there's going to be laughter, but most importantly, there will be support. Take a listen and connect with me so we can grow and learn from one another. This is Two Kids and a Career. Welcome to episode 76. I would like to remind you to stick around until the end for that Supermom shout out. And I'm going to get straight to it. This guest this week has been a guest before. She was on episode 23, and the title of that episode, Tips on Immune Boosting Foods and Cancer Prevention. And if you're in the St. Louis area, you know her well, STL Veg Girl. Caryn, welcome back to the podcast.
Oh, my little Jilly Jill, thank you so much for having me back. I can't believe I earned another spot on your awesome podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, you're one of few that gets the two-timer club pin that I don't have created, but yes, you get to hold that badge of honor. So, I don't have anything special for you except for a thank you.
No, this is special. I've been looking forward to it. Thank you. And it gets us together again. We were just talking kind of off mic, if you will, and with this pandemic, it's, we haven't seen each other. We haven't really talked as much as we wanted to, but so this is just another excuse for us girls to chat.
Yep, you got it. And speaking of the pandemic, like a lot of people, your business was completely affected. I have the blog post at jilldevine.com about what it was like for you as a small business owner to have this happen. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to get the perspective of other small business owners to say, hey, I want you to understand what is going on and how hard it is. And what really kind of has struck me even today, and based on some stuff that I've been hearing from other people, the restaurant business, and I know you're not a restaurant, but you'll explain for those who don't know what you own, but the restaurant business was hit hard, but it remains to be hit hard. Like, I am seeing so many different signs for now hiring and these sign up bonuses. And I'm seeing on social media how people are complaining because their favorite restaurant or just any restaurant they go into, either they're closed or they can't seat them right away because they don't have enough staff. And it's really sad because I think of St. Louis as definitely being a really good place for food and other items like that for imagination, innovation, education, and you're one of them. So as much as I don't want to do post-traumatic stress for you, I am going to ask you to go back and talk about what it was like for you and what were you doing at the time? Like, you were on a good momentum with the center.
Yeah. And first, if I may, I just want to say that you're right about the culinary scene here in St. Louis. I mean, we are a culinary destination right here in the middle of America. The talent here it's unparalleled. It's amazing. We are just a little gem right in the middle of the country. And I have so much sympathy, empathy for all of our awesome chefs and restaurant owners who are struggling. I have a good friend, Natasha Kwan, who owns Frida's and also Diego's. And Frida's right now, even though this whole plant-based business is coming back, booming, whatever, like it's on its own little track. But she has to close early every day because like 8 o'clock, because she doesn't have the staff that she needs to run a full business. Because if they go beyond 8 o'clock into 9, 10, whatever their hours used to be, she's paying overtime and she can't pay overtime, And so that's why businesses are closing earlier or still at half capacity or 75 capacity. It's not because of COVID, it's because they don't have the staff. And it's so anyway, that's a whole nother conversation with people, somebody else who owns a restaurant could really give you more insight. But wow, so this little pandemic has really hurt a lot of people, yours truly included. During the height of the pandemic, I was just sitting here at home spinning my wheels, and I would tell Tim, my husband, like, oh, I'm out of business. Like there's nothing coming in. Because you're not out of business. We're just on hold. I'm like, well, when you don't have money coming in, that's pretty much out of business. So anyway, that was, many people felt that. But I will tell you something that's not really funny, but kind of funny. And before I opened the Center for Plant-Based Living, by the way, Tim is an attorney. I have attorney friends. I have CPA friends. They're super interesting. These professional friends, and they were all like, "Oh gosh, you really should. You really need a business plan, Caryn. You got to get a business plan together." And I was like, I know that like you saying those words makes sense, but I will be the first and only nutrition and culinary education center in the nation. So having a business plan around that is pretty tough because you have to make it up, right? Like it's not like I'm opening a restaurant or going to open up a yoga studio. You kind of have a roadmap. I said, listen, I'm going to just open up these 4 walls and install a kitchen and do what I know how to do, which is create classes and programs and support and all these things that I've been doing through STL Veg Girl since 2011. I'm really just giving STL Veg Girl a home. That's what the Center for Plant-Based Living is. Just a home, a hub, a place for people to come and do all the things that I've been doing throughout the area for the last 12 years now. 10 years. What is it? 12? 10 years. And math is hard. I opened up. I didn't need a business plan because I wasn't getting a loan. I decided to open up this place in 2017, or I formulated an idea in 2017, talked to some bigwigs in the plant-based arena, like the movie directors and like those people who know all things plant-based. And I asked around, I said, does anybody have this thing? Does anybody have this business model that I'm looking for or that I'd like to do in St. Louis? Because I'm going to go and talk to them and see how I can replicate it in St. Louis. And they're all like, no, it doesn't happen. It's not a thing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, but I'm just going to do it. And they're like, well, okay, if you want to take on that expense. So I said, but it needs to happen because when people are really scared and really frustrated and don't know what to do because they're sick and they're looking for options, the first thing they think of shouldn't be, ooh, I should check out my supermarket circular and see if there's a class on plant-based nutrition. No. It's a movie. I was a moving target for many, many years, being a service-based provider. And so that's why I opened up the Center for Plant-Based Living. And I saved for 2 years. Everything I made, I put right back into building the shop. So on the anniversary of my dad's passing, we opened up the Center for Plant-Based Living. And then COVID hit. However, I will tell you, once I opened up those doors, gangbusters. Crazy, selling out classes, people contacting me from around the country. It was crazy. And I was overwhelmed, but I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll just have to figure it out. I'm just going to answer questions as I get them, give classes as people want them, just kill myself doing it, right? And I was, it was fine, it was good. But then 7 months and 1 day later, COVID hit and we had to close. And then we all started hearing the word pivot. If you heard it once, you heard it 1,000 times, right?
Yep.
I know, you just want to like throw up every time you hear that word now. So I went back to my friends and I was like, see, bitches, like there's no business plan for this, right? Because we all had to figure it out on a dime. And so that was one thing that I just kind of find humorous in all of this, like business plan? What business plan? So, it just, I don't even, it's almost like, Jill, I gotta say, it's like almost like a dream that it happened, or, well, nightmare. The world is forever changed for everybody. I don't care where you are, what you do. So, we're coming out of it now, but it's still, we're not going to go back to the way things used to be, especially now with the tech and the amount of new entrepreneurs, and everything's different. And I'm still, as is everybody, still trying to figure it out. I think that it's just knowing that the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train anymore. It's just like, okay, we're gonna get back. But we gotta figure out how this new era, what this new dawn looks like, and then go on from there. Because I think that's how I feel now. Is now I have to like replan everything.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point because you're right. It's not going to go back the way it was. I know a lot of companies now they're just like, okay, you can work from home. It's just, it's a different mindset. And like you said, pivot. And I do remember, so if you haven't followed Caryn's story or you haven't checked out some of the blogs on JillDevine.com, I was always intrigued by you. I was like, man, this woman is taking something that's so foreign to most people and making it accessible, and that is plant-based living. And so we started this friendship, and then I was there for the opening of the center, and then um, you invited me to be one of the first of your give back sessions, and that was January 2020. And you had this big plan, and I have this all documented at JillDevine.com, but then everything happened. And I remember that I just ached for people like you because I knew you had to close your doors. You had there was nobody that could come in and take a class, and I didn't know what to do. Not just you, but some of my other friends in the business, and I just kept saying, like, I'm here to help. I don't know what to do, but I'm here to help. And then I saw you pivot and do what most people did and turn it virtually. And you would have these classes via, YouTube, Zoom, whatever it may be. And I was so proud of you for doing that. And I know that that was hard to do in itself, to learn all of that, but you didn't give up. And that was what was inspiring to me too, about people like you and some other wonderful folks in the area. Like, okay, I have this really good thing and I'm not going to let it go down because I don't want to do the work. And I can probably say I know it was not easy for you, but I'm thankful. And I think there's a lot of people that are thankful for you for not giving up.
Oh, I just got chills. Thanks. No, really, that's so kind, and that's so. Yes, we're friends, but I mean, I know that you mean that, and so thank you very much. Because I'll tell you, everybody's just trying to make their life work some way, and I have to work harder on telling people how much I appreciate them. It just doesn't come as easily as it used to, because I'm really trying, like trying to keep myself afloat. So thanks very much, Jill. I really, really appreciate that. As you were saying this, and as you were talking about these virtual classes, I had 1 week of boohooing. It was 7 or 8 days. I was on the couch, feeling sorry for myself, like total pity party, which is not me. I might have a day here and there, and then I snap out of it. But I mean, it was a full week on the couch, wine, binging, binging Netflix, just like giving up, like forget it. Because I was also really tired from working so hard for so many months,
Yeah.
So I was like, which like a good work, like good. It was things were good. I was always trying to figure it out. It was just mentally fatiguing because you're trying to like figure it out. But that's okay. That's new businesses, and that's just the way it is. I wasn't complaining about that. I was just like, I was realizing that I was really tired, and then there was nothing, and then this was a really big thing potentially happening with this COVID thing. We didn't even really know what it was yet, and I was like, I'm done. Lights out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm just gonna, pay off. I'm gonna have to dip into savings and pay off my rent and close everything down. Like an entire week on the couch doing nothing but boo-hoo me. And then after a week, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe, maybe it was my angel, the dad. Maybe it was, who knows. But I hopped out of bed one morning and I was like, screw this. Nobody's taking me down. And I was pissed. I was just pissed. I was so mad. And I thought, no, damn it. I opened up this place to help people. I was so painfully scared and frustrated and lost back in 2008 when I lost my dad and then I had cancer. I was like, no, what? Somebody's feeling that way right now. Somebody is feeling that way right now. And for me to boo-hoo and say I'm tired when somebody is out there completely lost and in a vortex of God knows what because they were just diagnosed or they just lost somebody. No, I'm getting off this couch. I'm putting the wine back on the shelf for like a day. And then I'm getting back to it. And going virtually through the Center for Plant-Based Living was always in the back of my mind. But I thought, well, I have to get this brick and mortar thing figured out first. So I told Tim, I said, I think I'm just going to start classes through Facebook Live. And he's like, yeah, okay, great. So I started just looking around like how people were doing virtual classes, and nobody was really doing them. But I mean, there were some out there, and I would look at like different, car mechanics or like it doesn't matter, like anybody doing any kind of virtual classes. And I kind of research on what they were using and how they were doing it. And so Amazon, right?
Yep.
I just started getting tripods and lights and mics and all this stuff, and had to learn how to use it. And I've never been on YouTube so many times and so much in my life, trying to figure all this out. And so then we started the plant-based, and I say we because Tim and I did it. We started the plant-based quarantine cooking show, and we did this every Wednesday and every Sunday at 2:00. And Tim was at home too. So after I did the first one by myself, and I was like, wow, that sucked. That was so fun. Then Tim watched me do one, which was like so intimidating because Tim's never like watched me,
Right.
And but he saw like the feedback coming through, and he saw how and so then the third one, he was like, all right. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. He goes, are you ready? You getting ready? What's going on here? Let's do this. So he was like helping me with the lights, and then I was filming video, whatever, through my iPad and then also my iPhone, and then he was taking the comments, and he was the cameraman, and he was key grips, and he was like all these things, and so then after like the fourth one, like he was on it, like he would set up the entire kitchen. And I would get the food ready, and I would block myself, and I'm like, how's this? He's like, nope, go to the left. And like he would get out painter's tape because we've rehabbed homes all of our, and so we had all this tape, and he's like, don't go past this blue tape, okay? He's like, I'm like, okay. So we did this plant-based quarantine cooking show for free on Facebook for, I don't know, like I think we did like 13, 14 episodes. Then I changed it to the plant-based quick cooking show because I wanted to keep I started a hashtag PBQ cooking show. So, and then I started to really hone in on what the message was going to be. So it wasn't just a cooking class, but I kind of pin myself as the plant-based 101 coach, so the beginner. So when you're in that like vortex of, oh my gosh, what is this plant-based business? I've heard something about it. I need to reverse type 2 diabetes, or there's somebody in my family who would benefit from this, or I'm just curious about it. Perfectly healthy, I'm just curious about it. So on that kind of brink of what's happening, that's where I come in. And so I thought, okay, I need to create a series where people could get one new recipe a week. It's 7 ingredients or less. It's super quick and it's super tasty. So I'm not giving you all these recipes a week, and it's not a big meal planner. You don't have to overhaul your diet. It's just baby steps into adding more plants to your plate. So that's what the plant-based quarantine show evolved into, the plant-based quick cooking show. And now I've been doing that on YouTube. A new episode comes out every Tuesday, and we just, on May 22nd, that was our 52nd episode. So I have a whole year in the books. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a great little resource, free now, not always, but right now all 52 episodes are free for people to enjoy, and hopefully it'll help them.
Well, I want to, there's so many different things we can talk about in this episode, and that I could also follow up on. I know you mentioned your father and the cancer, and I just want to refer people back to episode 23. You'll hear Caryn's full story about her dad and why Caryn even decided to become STL Veg Girl. But what's so interesting, especially because of this pandemic, we are learning how plant-based living is so good for you and for your immune system. And you talked about that in episode 23, but now it's really, really getting talked about. And I saw this come through from you, and I was like, what? Okay, so locally in the St. Louis area, Crazy Bowls and Wraps. Tell me about this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so how fun is that? So they contacted me and they said they're interested in adding something to the menu that was whole food plant-based. And whole food plant-based means, the definition of that is yes, it's vegan, but it's a unprocessed way of vegan eating, if you will. So it's just real food, real plants, I should say, and creating meals. And we also don't, I and most people who are on a whole food plant-based diet don't use any oil. That's not to say we don't have fat in our diet, because there's plenty of fat. You need fat. I agree with that. We just don't use any oils. So I had just a real brief sit down with them months and months ago, and they were nice. And I said, listen, the way to grow, in my estimation, my experience, is to do collaborations. And I said, I'm happy to help you with something. This is what this means. We can do a sauce, we can do a wrap, we can, whatever it is. We just wanted to get to know each other. So I didn't hear from them, and I didn't hear from them. And I thought, well, and there's so many things, especially just being a one-woman show. Like, I've got so many balls in the air. And in my career, I've had so many people come to me and say, I want to do this with you and do this with you. And you know what? Like 80% of it falls through, right? Like,
right.
You have ideas and things just happen. Life is too fast. You can't win them all, can't win them most. So I just kind of waited for them. I put the ball in their court. I mean, it's their business. So then they came back stronger and stronger and more, I met with them, and then finally I was invited to go out to their kitchen in Chesterfield and create a sauce slash dressing. You can use it on anything. And I did. We talked about the branding of it and everything, and I gave them my logo. They offer the sauce, Smoky Mediterranean, in all 15 of their locations, and then they put up my logo on every one of their menu boards. I could not believe it, Jill. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, my name's up in lights. Which is so silly, but I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, wow, this cool restaurant. I mean, it's like fast casual, whatever it is. It's been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
In the St. Louis region, asked little old me to put something together, and they did, and they trusted me enough with their business to actually keep my logo up on all their menu boards. Like, that's crazy. And the cool thing about that, the really cool thing about that, is that now they offer something for people who want to stick with a whole food plant-based diet because they have great food. They do.
They do.
They didn't have a dressing that was a more healthy vegan and no oil dressing. So, and there's a lot of people seeking that now. So now they offer it, and I'm grateful that more people have that accessibility.
Well, and I think that that's something you and I have talked about is that there's a lot of times where people who want to adapt or try or go full in, they don't have that accessibility. And so they are like, not going to do it. I mean, unless you've been seriously diagnosed with an illness, like if you know what I mean? But even for me, my husband and I try to dabble in that and make sure that we have at least one plant-based meal a week. And then you think sometimes when you're out, oh my gosh, well, I have to do all this research to make sure that I can eat this or I can eat that or not eat this or not. And it's exhausting.
Yeah, it sure is because, you've got everyday life, right? And especially now, life is moving so quickly and who knows what's going on next. And then you think, well, I want to become, I want to boost my immune system or I want to see if I can reverse this pre-diabetes or whatever. And you learn a little bit about it, or you watch a document, you watch Forks Over Knives, or you watch The Game Changers, and you're really like, yeah, come home and do it. Wait, now what do I buy?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So to go and just go to a place like Crazy Bowls and Wraps and order whatever, and then say, okay, top it with that smoky Mediterranean, that sauce I know is, I hate to use the words on program or legit or whatever, but matches what I am kind of trying to do now. Yeah. So I'm really excited that they trusted me and they're again offering it to so many people now.
Well, you definitely are the expert on that. And I will make sure in the show notes at jilldevine.com, I have a link to that. And I will definitely be trying that out soon as well. All right. In our final moments together, I want to know what's next for you, what's next for the center, and just, final notes that you want to share with the listener, especially after everything that you've been through over the last year.
Well, one thing that's really important to me is to deliver to people what they want. So, you called me the expert, and whatever. I don't know if I agree with that because it's just something that I've been doing for a while. But I know the trends, so I stick with the trends. But I also need to know what my customers, audience, whatever people want to know. So I always put it out there on social media. Hey, what do you want to learn? Like, tell me. I'll put that class up. We'll make it really accessible for you. So that's a thing. I always love that feedback. But the newest thing for the Center for Plant-Based Living is a virtual membership. It has just gone live. Yes. And right now, it is only, might sound like an infomercial, yeah. It's only $30 a month. That's $1 a day to invest in your health, ladies and gentlemen. I know. Yes,
I love that.
It includes. So I have recorded all of my Zoom cooking classes, my virtual cooking classes from when I started them. And they are accessible through the private Facebook page when you're a member. So not only the virtual classes, but also all the recipes, all the PDFs. So the complete library of all virtual classes. And then you, of course, can attend any of the virtual classes coming up for free. And then there's also a monthly accountability and check-in call with me every month. It's a group call. And we still have to kind of decide on when that's going to be because the membership is so new. It went live like 3 days ago.
Okay.
So it's very new and it's very exciting. And that's also, that's member driven also. I mean, just because I say membership is this doesn't mean it has to remain this. Like, I'm talking with everybody. You're giving me your money every week, every month. I want to know what you want to, how you want to run this thing. So I'm very lucid and liquid, I guess, on all of that as well. So that's really exciting, is having a membership, because not everybody can be there in person. And we also just, now my audience has grown beyond the St. Louis borders. I have people from all over the country who attend classes virtually.
And then you're going to give me the link for all that, and I will have everything in the show notes at jilldevine.com to make sure it's very easy for others to have access to it. And one final note, your anniversary is coming up in like a couple months, right?
Yes, I know. It was so exciting. We just celebrated 10 years with STL Veg Girl. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Awesome.
Oh, thanks. I really, that sounds like such a big, kind of a big cornerstone, or milestone, I should say, milestone. But we are doing an even bigger celebration in August. August 13th is the second anniversary of the Center for Plant-Based Living. So we're going to wrap 2 celebrations together, the 10-year anniversary of St. Louis Veg Girl, and then the second anniversary of the Center for Plant-Based Living. We're going to have a week-long celebration. We're going to involve a charitable component, maybe do a big dinner at Frida's, maybe get some swag made, we'll have some fun classes. So it'll be a really, really cool week to celebrate.
And I'll make sure that I share that information with the listeners as well. I'm so proud of you, and you're very inspiring, and I truly do mean that.
Well, Jill, I'm very proud of you too, because look at what you've done. We know what you've been through, and talk about lemons to lemonade. Man, you made limoncello, girl. So, I mean.
Well, because of people like you. So that also helps. It's because of people like you too. So the support and the community, it's just... it just takes my breath away and leaves me speechless.
And isn't that a good feeling?
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
I love you, girl.
Oh, I love you right back. I really do. And I can't wait to see you.
Join me next week for a new episode of Two Kids in a Career, episode 77. Ginny Jesse will be my guest, and we are going to talk about her daughter, June, and the June Jesse Memorial Foundation. Unfortunately, June passed away right before the age of 4 due to a medically complex neurological condition. That's next week on the podcast. Up next, the Supermom shout out. But first, I want to shout out the ladies behind Evoke Creative. They want to make sure that your small business is seen, just like the Supermom shout out. They see you and they want to support you. And they want to make sure that you are getting in front of so many people. And one of the best ways to do that, social media. Social media, it can be a nightmare and a full-time job for sure. And a lot of us business owners, we don't have time for that. But the ladies at Evoke, they do. They know exactly what they should be doing in regard to algorithms and when to post and what to post and all that good stuff. Check them out, evokecco.com. It's evokecco.com. We are at that point in the episode where it is time to shout out a Supermom, brought to you by Addie's Way. The Supermom will get a special customized Supermom shirt from Addie's Way. And so let's get to it. The nominator is Casey, and she is nominating Trisha of Wentzville, Missouri. She says, "It is my pleasure to nominate my childhood friend, Trisha. Trisha is a single mom of 2 amazing kiddos. Her beautiful daughter was recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so they are learning as a family how to manage this new routine. Trisha also received news after finding a lump in her breast and after the doctors did several tests that she has stage 2 invasive ductal breast cancer. She's been documenting her fight and showing so much strength. She continues to share her knowledge and help us to understand the importance of doing self-breast exams and getting that annual mammogram. I am so proud of my friend for her courage and pray to God for hope and healing in her name. Trisha, I see you and I support you. Keep on fighting. We got you." If you would like to nominate a Supermom like Trisha, all you have to do is go to the website, JillDevine.com. There's a Supermom shout out page there, and we have everything all ready for you. Just put in all the information and you're good. Or you can email me, hello@JillDevine.com. And I just need the Supermom's name, where she's from, and why you're nominating her. And then she will get that Supermom shout out in an upcoming episode of Two Kids in a Career, also on social media, and a shirt from Addie's Way. Speaking of social media, you can follow along on Instagram at Jill Devine and Facebook at Jill Devine Media. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, if you could subscribe, rate, and review, I would really, really appreciate the support. And thank you for listening to Two Kids and a Career.